As you can see, I have applied a condition. If the age is greater than 20, I am setting the style to red. Color of the label to red. There in our data source, there are no persons with the age more than 20. So I am going to change that one. I am going to change let's see, Dinesh has age of 25 and this fellow has an age of 28, and I am saving it. While running this application, as you can see, persons with the age greater than 20 is displaying in a red color. You can increase the font size so that you can be able to clearly see. There I am going to increase the font size as 26. Now let me run the application again. As you can see, the persons with the age greater than 20 are displaying in red in color. So do you think the job is done? No, it is not so. While you are applying conditional logic, it should be perfect. Let me tell you why that is not done. As I already told you, while scrolling through the list based control, the item renderers are recycling rather than creating. So when I apply the modify, now I have applied the modify, and the two more objects gets added to the data provider component. As you can see, to add with the age property more than 20, there I have given a mistake. Now I am going to add one more object into my array collection. There you can see that object with the age property of 25 value. So now I am scrolling through. As you can see, the first object, Kumar, who has an age of only 11, but it's showing in red in color. Why does so mean? Let us come to the my render conditional logic. You have mentioned your data.age is greater than 20, you set the style. Since while you scroll through the data provider component, the first renderer instance is copied over to the sixth row of the data grid. So now the data grid value is age value is more than 20, that is 25. So it has been applied, which means the conditional logic has been implied over there. So it has set the color of red. So on the next time while you are scrolling upwards, it doesn't recreating the item renderer instance, rather than it's recycling. So the same instance is going to be applied over to the first row of the data grid. There you have a value of 11, but you haven't conditioned over there. It is going to set the color of the red if it is greater than 20, but if it is 11, it's not going to change the color. It's just keeps the color as it is. So the previous color of the previous color that was rendered at this instance is red. So it's just keep the color over there. So for that, you have to give another else logic. Else you are going to set the color back, revert the color back. Again you are setting color as black. Now I am going to run the application. So you can see the persons with the age more than 20 are displaying 20, and I am going to add new objects. I've added new objects, and now I can scroll through this nowhere. No matter how you are scrolling, the objects with the lower values, that is less than 20, will be having only black in color. That is the default color. So now let us back to the presentation. And next thing about the list based control is item editors. Item editors are used to modify the value of the data that you are displaying in your list based control. And item editors is not a property which can be supported by any list based control. Only data grid, list and tree components can be supporting item editors. The default item editor for these controls is text input, which means while you are the component, the cell gets focus, the default text input will be available to make you edit. And for that, what you should basically do is making the editable property of the control to be set true. Unlike item renderers, what item editor does is only one instance of the cell is created only when the item gets focused, which means you can edit only one item at a time, and by that time only that instant happens, which means it hidden. Suppose you have provided item render for that cell, which means for that column, and you have provided item editor also for that column. And what does flex does is it just hides the item renderer and it just focuses into the item editor. So there are some events get dispatched while the item which is going to be edited gets focused. And the first thing, when the user goes over the item and when he releases the mouse point, when the mouse point gets up, there is an event dispatched called item edit beginning. You can use this event to make a control over the item editors, whether the particular item should be edited or not. You can use this event to apply that logic. And when the editing actually begins, there is another event called item edit begin. The previous event was item edit beginning, and then now it is item edit begin. You can use this event to display what really actual item editor you would be. Suppose you may have a simple string as a item render that you are showing in your data grid cell. While the user clicks on that cell, you may want to display a combo box with options which can be selected, and once if it gets selected, the selected value will be displayed as a string, which means the item edit ends. So once the combo box gets selected, there is another event called item edit end event, which automatically gets dispatched, and you can make use of that event to control when your data provider gets updated. So whenever you edit the values in the data provider component, the item edit event gets dispatched, and ultimately your data provider source component gets updated. So here is my conclusion about this topic. Even though item renderers, item editors are subjectable to use, there is some constraints that you have to look on before using it. There should be a minimum number of columns that which your item renderer should be using, and you should avoid containers as an item renderer. You should avoid using container as an item renderer. Rather than, you can go for UI component, which will be more effective because containers overhead will be heavy. And as far as item editors is concerned, you should use it in a meaningful way. Like suppose if you are using a shopping cart model in a list, you can allow the user to change the number of items that he would like to purchase on that particular category, rather than changing the items property itself, like changing the color or that won't be meaningful. Even then you can do it, but it shouldn't be the case. So item editors should be used in a meaningful way. Any questions? Thank you.